We are back on I Represent the 2% with your host, Amos Wellington. Greetings, one and all. I am so excited. I'm such a fan of this young man and the career that he had as a track and field athlete, qualifying for the Olympic trials, setting a national record that is still standing and shall for quite a while yet. We're here with Michael Granville, the great Michael Granville, celebrating the silver anniversary of his national record in the boys high school 800-meter run, 146 and what?
4.5.
146.45. Yeah. Set on Friday night, state prelims, Cerritos College, 1995. We're going to talk about
96,
that.
96, yeah.
96, excuse me. That would be 26 years, yes. 96. And so we're going to talk about that and so much more. But to get us started, Michael, congratulations again on, wow, 96. Okay, I'm so excited to talk about this. But congratulations, man, on the record. Still standing, man.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, it's gone through some names, that's made it to the next level. I was just cheering on Brandon Miller yesterday from Texas A&M. He, won the SEC championship as a freshman. And I know that he was tackling a lot of my earlier records.
Yeah.
Freshman year, he went first freshman to go sub 150. I went 151. And then, 148 as a sophomore, 147 as a junior, and then the 146. But the names that's, gone on to do some things and to see that record still held. I mean, Donovan Brazier, he's kind of started late in the 800. Okay. And the next year, as a freshman at Texas A&M goes like 143. So it's like, woo, this. I was like, let me make it to that 25 year.
Oh, and man.
Then, but I'm cheering all these young. I think what I like about it, because it keeps me kind of in the loop and connected to the sport, especially the 800 meters. And I like that part, to be able to stay in the loops, have some kind of relevance, and be able to be the biggest fans of these young men and women that are, taking the baton to the next level.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you ran those off kind of quickly. Freshman, sophomore, junior year. Finally, in that your senior year there in 96. Before we go there, did you have an extensive youth career? I was, at the time, we were talking just before we hit record, and saying, I was coaching high school at the time, and obviously watching, just these incredible numbers. Like, man, these 1, 4, and anything in the tens place is just not supposed to be for this level of athletes. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So tell us about your youth career before you get to Bell Gardens. What club were you with, and how was that experience?
So I did a little Arco, Jesse Owens, back in LA. It was a California thing. I don't know if it's nationwide. In 1987, 88. I was real green to the sport. Maybe I ran twice, the 400 and the 200. And it was just kind of hit him at the little Pop Warner in 87, 88, and just not too much. And in 1990, I played baseball. It was something that was open. It's like, let's try some baseball, Mike. And so I was like, I try it out. It was a great pitcher. I felt confident to say I was a really good pitcher. Yeah. And I was confident to say too, I could not hit worth a darn. And so I would pitch, and we would have a 0-0 game till about the 4th inning in that little league. I think you can pitch 4 innings before you have to put in another one. So I was zoom, and then try to get hit by a ball so I can get a base and steal home, first base to home. So a guy named Haddad kind of seen me running. If you the Haddad name, Amina Haddad is his daughter, Long Beach Poly. Yeah. Yes. Texas Longhorn. Yeah.
Yes. And so I've always pronounced it Haddad, but when you said it, I was like, maybe that's the same guy. Yeah.
Maybe it's Haddad. Yeah. Maybe back then I said Haddad, and
sure, there you go.
Went through. I'm pretty sure Haddad, right? And so he's like, hey, let's try this track and field. There's a team called the West Valley Eagles. They are going places, and they need somebody to fill a relay spot because somebody got hurt, an athlete got hurt, or they just felt like they needed the time. It's like, we want you to go there. So my dad took me off the baseball field and we went to Canoga Park.
Okay.
And they gave me a fresh new blue and gray jersey. I mean, the only sweats I had were my pajamas. So I wore my pajama pants that was cut off, a couple shirts to stay warm. And they gave me a pair of spikes. I can still smell them today. Smell the Asics fresh out the box.
Wow.
And there's like, let's try this 100 meters.
Yeah.
And didn't get out the blocks. I was 12 years old. So 1990, this is that year where I felt like things kind of shifted and had a more direction where as far as my athletic ability and understanding of what this may take, where it may take me. And so fast forward, I get on the line for this 100 meters. On your mark, get set, everybody's down in the blocks. And so I'm just kind of green to this, just not understanding. Go. And the first 4 or 5 steps, I'm still on the line. And then I decide to take off, And as I'm humming and going, because I feel like, hey, I want to get a plane ticket to somewhere. If I can get on this team, and from that point, I'll bring this part up later. And so I end up winning the race.
Okay.
And 11.99. And at the time, the national record was 11.98. And they looked at me as like, yeah, first race.
10 years
Since
old?
like 1988. I was 12 at the
12 years old.
12 years old, 11.99. I think Jason Johnson from Louisiana had the 11.98. Which I would go on and meet before. So at that point, they're like, you're on the team.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and then I maybe ran another race, a 200 or something. But at that point, I earned my flight to Spokane for the one of the AAU junior. It wasn't TAC, it was a different one. So Spokane, Washington. And from that point, my dad always said, earn your plane ticket. We always had that term, earn your plane ticket. Like get your qualifying, eventually get your qualifying mark. Yes. And then you can go back to practice, be a little bit more risky instead of having to wait to like the last second to get your plane ticket. So get your plane ticket started that day. 11.99. Get your plane ticket started at 12 seconds. And then and so we end up going to Spokane, and that's where I ran the first 400 that I needed to. They wanted to see, okay, can you run a 4x4 with us? So they put me in that 400 on the black track in Spokane, Washington. And everybody was saying, watch out for Obi. There's a guy named Obi in your race. I'm like, what's a Obi? For real? And my dad was a very, very research study guy. With Google at the time back then, if he had Google, he would have been even into that, studying each of my competitors. He was one of those that would see what's saying. He said, I've been studying William. He called him. He's like, his name was William on the list, but he's like, everybody's like Omi and Obi. He says he's fast. What I want you to do is get out, and then he's going to try to catch you on the turn. He will catch you on the turn and try to pass you. Don't try to compete with him. Just let yourself relax, because you're just off the baseball diamond. So you're going to have to pick and choose where you want to hit this race. So he broke it down to me that way. Wow. And again, I'm looking. I respect him. I see he was a little shorter than me at the time, and I felt pretty confident after what I just did. And my dad was my biggest ring man. If you had that corner guy, he was that guy. And so he was just ready. And so sure enough, the gun goes off and I run that first 150 hard. I'm in the lead a little bit. And then I'm just, counting my steps to the 200 meter mark so I can chill out a little bit, let my stride go. And sure enough, right at the 200, I'm in the outside lane, maybe lane 7. He's in lane 5. And he swoops on through me on that turn. Meanwhile, looking back at it now, looking at the recording of it, and you can hear that woo, and the people in the crowd like, that's what Obi do. I was just like, oh. And so, and people were almost like having a picnic. It's like, oh, this race is over. If you look back at the video. And so anyway, I followed my dad's strategy, and I chilled on the turn, and he was gone. And then I was like, Daddy said with 110 to go, turn it up. And so I turned it up, moving. I was feeling good. And then I started seeing myself catch them. And that catapulted me to another level. And then looking back at the video to this day, you can hear the woo. Who is this? The woo doing this to Obi woo. Yeah. And we got all the way through, and it was a lean for the finish, something like 54 low or something. Goodness. And he ended up winning. I took second, but that was the start of my youth career with the West Valley Eagles and plane tickets. We went on to the the Junior Olympics at Lincoln, Nebraska, another plane ticket, and we end up winning the 4x4 against the LA Jets that Obi's team was on in dramatic fashion.
Wow.
Shout out to Armand Locker. You know, he was our anchor leg. I was the third leg, and he brought it home for us. So that was a great and still beautiful connection with that Eagles team. And I went on to win another Junior Olympics in 1992. Won the 400, 800, and the both relays, 4x1, 4x4. And after that meet, I was gifted a pair of shoes from Quincy Watts to say, you know, and he was a West Valley Eagle. West Valley Eagles, Tyree Washington, Quincy Watts, another person, Marion Jones. She was a big reason when I heard that she was on the team. I was like, I need to be on the Eagles too. And so it was a really kind of fun team to be around, of people that really want to go to the next level.
Well, at that time, it's funny. I mean, you know, we were talking about this area that, you know, that I'm in now, the Antelope Valley. I mean, Marion was still in Palmdale at that point. She had made the transition south at that point. So that's you know, another little tidbit of history.
Yes.
When I first moved out here, I was like, yeah, Marion, we had Marion for about 5 days, and then, you know, she was good. Like,
yeah, wow. She went to Thousand Oaks or something. Or did she go to Thousand? Yeah.
Because the first time I saw her run, I think it was 91, maybe 91 at the state meet. And
you never forget when you see her run for the first time.
I mean, I remember her first time. I remember Angela Williams the first time I heard her.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Angela, she was part of the Cheetahs growing up, so I would see her often. So you're gonna hear a little rush right now. This our Sunday ice cream truck is here. The baby girl's like, I need my ice cream. Forget about this interview. My baby. Yes, I know. Are you gonna take her outside?
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, hi. There she is.
Hi.
She's like, yeah, D.
You don't know me.
No.
Hi.
There you go.
Coach Amos, nice to meet you.
Just say hi, bye. Coach Amos. Oh yeah.
That's
like, wonderful. Do you have an ice cream sundae, Mr. Amos? I think we're good for a bit.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So 92, you make your way over to Bell Gardens High.
Yes.
And at this point, you talked about your dad, you know, giving you that strategy, you know, just for that first big quarter, and you know, breaking it down. Did your dad have an extensive running background, or was he just? Yes.
He ran at Northridge University of Northridge.
Okay.
He was a half miler, quarter miler.
Okay.
Linwood High School growing up, and he's 660. Back when we used to run the 660. Okay, so he was the developing. He loved the 800. He loved the run. Yeah. Made it to state. Made it to the and then had a full ride at Northridge where he continued his career. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, that makes
get the baby.
That makes just a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I remember seeing his spikes. Oh man, that's one thing I wish I can go back and get. He had those old suede Pumas with the 4 spikes on it, where you don't see. Classic looking spike, you know.
Well, those guys, you know, the guys that ran in the late 60s, early 70s, they were still digging out, you know, holes.
Yeah, blocks, holes for their blocks, dirt tracks, long spikes, and running. Yeah. I mean, there's one running serious times then. I mean, there's still records from that point. I'm doing an interview, son.
Crazy times.
But,
yeah.
And, you know, but not having, and on top of that, what I would think, not having the technology and equipment that we have now. I'd say right now what we do see is the information is there, and I can see kids really, you know, that want to make it can find that information as quickly as possible. But back then, the information was get on that track and run, get out there and work.
Yeah, I mean, there were great teams. The great teams at, you know, the southern colleges, universities, the HBCUs.
Edwin Moses.
Prior to well, you know, I mean, Edwin Moses went to Ohio State. No, not Edwin Moses. I'm sorry. I mean, that's Jesse Owens. I'm not going back that far.
Yeah, that's Jesse Owens. Here you go.
Yeah, Edwin Moses. Where did he go to school?
Morgan. Was it Morgan State?
You go Morgan State.
Morehouse.
Did he go to
either Morehouse or Morgan State?
Okay, so to everybody out there that is an HBCU alum that is in effigy slapping myself and Michael, we're both from the West Coast, both from Southern California, and we're our HBCU, knowledge just a little bit diminished because there isn't one west of Texas. So just stay with us. We're okay.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. Yeah. Thank you.
We love all of our HBCU grads.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, man, I mean, fantastic time. The teams at Tennessee State, the Tiger Bells, the 1960 Olympics, Wilma Rudolph and Wyoming Attias. Great, that great image of her dancing at the starting line of the 100, just knowing she's going to win. Now, here's the funny part. Okay, just talking about HBCUs and track and Olympics. I went to Wilshire Crest Elementary. Okay. Her son, we used to call him Tyus, was there. And she was always around. She always helped out with everything, PTA, all kind of stuff. And, I didn't know this. I just knew she was, little man's mom. Yeah. And I got older and my dad was like, you don't even know who that is. And I was like, well, why'd you tell me? But man, I get older and I get into, I start coaching and I'm looking at, I'm at the Amateur Athletic Foundation now, LA 84, right? And I'm watching old video and things and I see Wyoming Attias and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. She's got 2 Olympic medals. That's crazy.
So you got a chance to really appreciate, like say something to her at that point, like, hey.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh man, so wonderful. But so okay, thank you. So we got the background on Dad's running ability, and that's that makes a lot of sense. Why he was able to break down the race for you like that. Oh yeah, I mean, that's incredible. And
his coach, growing up too, is I don't know if you remember Brian Harris.
Brian
Harrison, from Yeah, he was the same time with Marquise and he went. So his dad,
Marcus Hollowell,
my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, Marcus Hollowell too. Yeah.
Oh man, I remember Hollowell.
Brian Harrison was my teammate at UCLA. I'm also a fast 100, 200 meter runner. Brian Howard, that's what I'm gonna say. Brian Howard.
Oh yeah, Canyon Springs.
Canyon Springs. There you go. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
So it's just like a total just web of connection.
Yes.
In this California track fan. Wow, we getting bombarded by double scoops. Double scoops. Look at this man with the double scoop.
Oh, there we go. Man, hey man, wait, where's mine, brother?
Yeah, you can go share.
Come on, man. You
guys gotta finish up. Especially if you're not sharing.
That's wonderful, man. That's wonderful. I'm glad to see it. Yeah.
Thank you. I've got one more coming in, but thank you for your patience on this.
No problem. All right. No problem. Shoot, we're here celebrating. It's
yes, sir.
It's just great to be able to celebrate. You're here, healthy, well, and to see you with your children and everything. Fast forward from 1996.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just go back in time.
Yeah.
1996 and how different the world is. I mean, Bill Clinton's the president.
Yeah.
I think in the spring of 96, Biggie's still alive.
Ooh,
spring 96, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Because I believe we took a trip that summer somewhere. And I think we were in Arizona. I was at like a Quickie Mart or a Circle K or something like that. And they said Christopher Wallace, known as Biggie Small, was killed. Because that was right around the corner from my house.
In Las Vegas?
No. Not Tupac.
That's
was in
Tupac.
Vegas.
Yeah, that's
Tupac was in Vegas. But Biggie was killed at, on Wilshire and Fairfax around the corner from at the Peterson Auto Museum.
It's just crazy as that was. That's right. He was in Cali.
Yeah.
So he had, I think it was 97 then, right?
No, it was 96.
That was 96.
Yeah.
Whoa, man. And then Tupac was 97.
Tupac was first.
Tupac was first.
I think he was 90, maybe 95. I'm not.
Man.
Around because it was only a few months separation because it was interesting. A student, I was at Dominguez at the time. I was at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And when Tupac was shot, a classmate of mine that was on the baseball team at Dominguez was there, and he got hit with a bullet fragment. And my man was like really paranoid. He really was concerned that people were looking for him, and like everything changed for that guy at that time. And I mean, it was very interesting, man. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, gangster rap.
Yeah. Gangster East Coast, West Coast. East Coast, West Coast was a thing.
Oh, man, yeah. and these cats really, these young people right now, I mean, can you imagine what Twitter and Instagram would have looked like in 1996?
Oh man. I always kind of say that to them. I said, man, if I would have had, just give me 1 year of Instagram back then.
Oh my goodness. They talk about these kids and how popular they are. If you and Obi and Marion had, Instagram in high school, it would have been crazy.
No, it would have been a whole, I mean, just the way my record was, I heard people, found out about the record, the next day. Yeah. Some people, one of the guys I met, he was a coach at Stanford, and he said he was in like Scotland or Ireland at the time, and he found out like at the Track and Field magazine, like, a month later, it's like, what's his nuts? And call, just to hear about it a month later, but still be surprised. That's the difference. We can hear about something a month later and still be news.
Oh man. Yeah. Now, I mean, an hour later, it's like, oh, you didn't hear about that?
Yeah. That I told that to my son. I was like, hey, did you hear about Curry? He's like, yeah, he's already the champ, this and that, the 8th seed. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
You're right. So information is so fast.
So throughout your high school career, your times are, they're pretty steady, they're consistent, they're dropping. What was the record before you broke it, and were you always looking at it once you got to, at what point did you start to say, okay, I can get that?
So so my dad again was the researcher of the sport. He would, during the summer, he would like hide away, write out a whole year's workout, kind of visualize the year, then come out, with smoke and longer beard. That's how I kind of felt. He's like, with the little like commandments, this is how we're gonna do it this year. And so to make that note, so he would get all kind of news clippings, David Mack, George Kirsch, a lot of the top names I can't remember right now, but basically he had all the times that were before me, different records that I wanted to beat, and he had them up on the wall. And every time I would pass somebody, he'll just take that person off, or and just kind of put my times up, and he will start looking. So I remember so what happened was this. I wanted to be like a 400-meter runner like Quincy Watts. That was my hero, and just somebody that's so cool too, and funny, and then at the same time can just smooth, right? And so I was like, that's me. That's what I want to be. And so but then one cloudy morning in 8th grade, so just before with the West Valley Eagles, before I went in high school, my dad had a crazy idea of putting me in the 800. Okay. And that was probably the worst day of that year, that day, of what, like the feeling I had. I couldn't eat, I couldn't talk to my own mother. There was a lady on the team, like the team mom of West Valley Eagles, Smitty's wife. Okay. And she was the nicest, my goodness, the nicest woman. Oh, you can have a car when you can drive. This Michael is just a nice young man. You raised a good, but like every time I see her, it was just compliments and hugs. And she went to do that same thing to me before my race. And I looked at her like she was the enemy and walked off, because I was like, I'm about to run. And she went, what's wrong with Michael? She's talking to my dad. What's wrong with Michael? Oh, he about to run at 800. Don't mind the way he's acting. She goes, oh, you should have told me that. That kid is upset. Oh, I was hot. Yeah. So I get on the track and I jog at it reluctantly. I'm just not want to run it. And I'm just tiptoeing through. Yeah. And I'm still kind of in the lead, and I end up running 2:20.
Okay.
for the win. My first time running the 800.
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
Okay.
And that right there, he saw something. And I'm running in the eighth grade. I'm going sub 50. You know, I'm running pretty fast at that time. And he's like, let's go help your 400. So I thought that was it.
Okay.
Then he puts me in the Long Beach Relays, Long Beach Invitationals 3 weeks later against guess who? Obi. Obi decides to be, and I remember hearing like, not him. And so my dad says, this is how you're gonna do it. He's been seeing him run. He's like, he's gonna take it out. He says, this is all I want you to do. Make sure he doesn't get no more than 10 yards ahead of you.
Okay.
Just kind of keep him 10 yards ahead of you. Yeah. If he makes a move, you got to go with him, but keep that tether. Yeah. Now, with 300 meters to go, when you get to this spot right here, no, he didn't say that. He says, no, at the 300 meter mark, get a check with 300 left. At the 500 meter mark, 300 left. He goes, check on it. I want you to stare at him. And soon as his shoulders drop, where he was looking for air, run past him. Run as fast as you can and run past him.
Okay.
And sure enough, I'm running the first 10 steps of this 800, my second 800 in life in 1992. Oh my goodness. He said, I ran it. And the first 5 steps, I was like, I don't see how I can run the rest of this race. It was like anxiety. My legs felt like I was tired, both feet on the ground. Then after the turn, I was like, okay, I'm in a race and I'm 10 yards. What was this 10 yards? And I'm just thinking, I'm looking, I'm like, this kid is running effortlessly. Oh, why did they call him Obi? Oh my gosh. And I'm just thinking of all kinds of stuff. And then around the 300 mark, I guess it gave me something to think about. And so at the 300 mark, I was feeling the race and I was just looking at him. And sure enough, he dropped his hands and his shoulders. I was like, oh, that's probably what my dad was talking about. And I sprinted. I started sprinting. Okay. And so with 250 to go, I shoot past him probably around the 200 meter mark and kept running. I was like, I'm gonna just keep running because I know what he has. So I'm gonna just run. I just ran to oblivion, just down. Like, I don't remember the last 200, but I do remember crossing the finish line and my dad grabbing me. Like he wherever he came from, he was in the middle of the field. That's right. He came and he's like, do you know what you just did? He picked me up, swung me around. I'm like, Dad, I love you. I can't breathe. Can I breathe? Put me down. And I just melted. And he showed me the clock at 156.3.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah. Second one. So that right there kind of sealed my fate for the 800.
Oh my goodness, man. Come on. 156.
156.3, which was a national record at the time, which has been broken by Brandon Miller. Like, he went 151 at the same age. Yeah. Yeah. And he's just recently been 145 freshman at Texas A&M. So he's on track in more ways than one to making it far. So yeah, so that moved me into the 800 in the high school. Pretty much I was still thinking about running the 400, but he would put me in. I think I've ran the 400 one more good time in indoors. I still ran it at Mount Sac. I won 4 years in a row there at Mount Sac. And I tried my freshman year at the state meet. He gave me that and I took 3rd place. That's the year of the state meet where it rained out and they canceled it in 1993.
What?
Oh, yeah. So 1993.
Okay.
I had broke the 800 meter record at Arcadia. Okay. I went 151 there. Funny part is, you can't even do that now, where my dad the coaches were able to put my time at 155 to get in the night meet, but I told you already, I went 156.3 as an 8th grader. But, Doug Speck and everybody, all the powers that be at Arcadia, there's like, let's give this freshman a shot. And it was a great experience. I ended up winning, also one of the only guys that win Arcadia 4 years in a row. Yeah. So anyway, so that year in 93, I come back and try to give that 400 a chance. And who's in that race? Andre Desaussure. I can't remember what high school he went to, but he ended up playing football at UW, University of Washington. Gotcha. 6'4" receiver, quarter miler. And then Alvin and Calvin Harrison.
Oh yeah.
Was in my race. Well, one of them. One of Calvin was, because they came from CCS. Back then, they only let one qualifier from the state. So that's why both of them wasn't in the 400. Woo! Now I think they get 3. But so Friday night, we all qualify, and I felt like, okay, as an 800-meter like background, I feel like I might have a chance to come back and sneak up on Harrison.
Okay.
And that's just my way of thinking. And it rained that night. It rained Friday night into the morning.
Gotcha.
I remember getting up, taking whatever I can eat of breakfast. It was sunny, partly cloudy, not raining at all. I get a call.
Now, where was the meet that year?
Cerritos. It was in
Cerritos.
Cerritos.
Okay, everything. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
This was the beginning of why it's not probably there all the time. and so it rained, and it wasn't raining. For the meet, it was going to be dry. It was done, and they canceled it like at 11 o'clock, 12 that morning. We get a call that they canceled it because of the rain, and it's too dangerous to run on a wet track, or maybe the pole vault where you put the little,
divot,
the divot.
Yeah.
Maybe, and that's full of water, and we can't have our pole, so they canceled it. I'm like, what? And I was like, all right, I'm starting my summer. And then I guess 2 or 3 weeks later, I found out from when I was coaching up here from Hal Daner that the CCS was like, wait a second, we already down there, and you go cancel it like this. So they found a way to redo it, and we ran our finals, and I ended up taking third in that 400 for the 93 state meet.
3 weeks later?
That, it had to be. It felt like longer.
Wow.
It felt like longer. But some people say like 3 weeks. Oh, it was. And so from that point, I think that's when the powers that be up here is like, we can't be, putting all our eggs in one basket. So at that point, every 2 years or every year it went back and forth. Yeah. And now it's that in Fresno or Clovis, which is, I think, is a great facility. Buchanan High School. Buchanan High School.
Yes. Is fabulous. And my uncle was the my uncle. Shout out to my cousin Bass up there in Clovis. He was the director of security in that district for many years. He's like, yeah, call me anytime you want. I'll get you any one of these jobs you want. I was like, no problem. I ain't moving to Clovis. But anyway.
Yeah, right.
Excuse me. Here's the second offense. So Clovis people, I might, y'all will see me. I'll be, hey, you might get me as your coach. So
yeah.
You just relax. Let me take that back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, man, I remember right around, let me see. I don't want to go too far. I'm trying to mix my decades up. Cerritos every year, of course, our story is going to culminate back there. But it wasn't OB. It was, okay, this was much later then. It was David Geddes. David Geddes was at Dorsey at the time. This is early 2000s, early 2000s, early 2000s. And the meet was at, oh no, I know what year it was. Okay, it was 2003. I'm sorry, that's what it is. We're at Sacramento City, 2003. Geddes had won the state in the quarter 3 years in a row.
Wow.
And there was a kid from Long Beach Poly that was on the cover of Cal High Sports with two big Jay-Z diamond earrings, and he's standing. They're running a mile relay. They were both, Dorsey was leading the nation at like 3:08, something like that.
Okay.
And but Poly was feeling good, and they were healthy, and the kid, was coming down the anchor leg, and I can't remember the other kid's name, and I wish I had it, but Geddes gets the baton. No, my man is, okay, the guy from Long Beach, and golly gee, I'm looking at the kid because he's standing behind Geddes, and Geddes is a big, tall kid, went to Baylor, played football, and, played in the league for a little minute. But he's standing behind Geddes, and he's like, I'm gonna get him. He's jumping up and down, I'm gonna get him. And Geddes can't see it. So he gets the baton, Geddes goes out, he goes out kind of hard, and the kid just kind of drabs off him. And then this guy, again, Geddes is 3-time state champion now, 4-time city champion, I think 3-time state, I don't think he won it all 4 years. But young man he walked on him in that last 50. And it was a beautiful mile relay. It was a beautiful night there at Sacramento City. It was hot that day.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But anyway. So
I know how that feels though, to get walked down in the high school state meet. 1995.
Okay.
Aaron Richburg got me on that one.
In the 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a relay though, no. But I had to lead.
Okay, so So 95. So was he was a senior, you were a junior?
Yeah, he was a senior out of East Bay up here. I forget the name of the high school. Coach Lee. I can't think of it right now, but he's from the East Bay. Aaron Richburg. He's nice. Law enforcement police officer in Houston now. So definitely cheer for him and his safety and definitely using his speed for good still.
Shout out to Aaron. That's great.
But it was a year that I was like trying to get that record. Then as a junior, I had a pretty, dominating junior year.
Yeah.
We're going 147 in April at Arcadia. At one point, I led the world in the 800 for like 14 hours. And then, going up into the state meet. The year before, we had a pretty epic race with him, Obi, Vondre Amore. And what these were like it was California 800 in the mid 90s, all throughout the 90s, even early 90s, Brian Woodward and stuff. Yeah, it was no race was when it get to that point, it was everybody could fire. Everybody had firearms. So
it was a whole
the year before,
bunch of assassins on the track. And there was no, from a fan and a young coach's perspective at that time, early 90s, there was no safe time to go to the restroom. You just had to, you just couldn't drink that much. We're gonna stay out there on the south side behind us, not behind the scoreboard, but out there behind that, in the warm-up area, we're gonna hang out in the back, hang out on the other field next to the discus stage and that kind of stuff and just relax. And then, you're gonna go in and like, all right, let's go. It's because like you said, there's no safe race. You can't miss anything at the state.
At that point, no.
There's fire. There's the pole vault pit is happening crazy over here.
Scott Slover was doing that back then. Yeah.
Somebody's gonna set a national leading throw in a shot. Oh, come on.
Salala Sewell was doing it back then. Susie Powell. No, it was everything. Jeremy Fisher was hot. I remember when.
All these names were just thinking back.
Yeah. No, it's just that was a state meet. All those names is in the state meet.
California, they're all coming together,
right? And so
I'm sorry.
So that was just like you said, just to follow up on you can't leave, and also just the total respect from lane 1 to 9, 1 to 8, and in that final for sure. So what happened was I think I know. He was, talking now, with his coaches and being able to sit down with Aaron 20 something years later and talk over the race because it ended kind of crazy. But it was something I learned about, which I think gave me more drive to do what I did in the next year. But, going into the last 600, I was feeling real boss. I was feeling real confident and just had total control. And he passed me about 220 meters to go, and I felt insulted. It was the feeling of insult, and I was like, and I hit the button super hard to take the lead back from him again. Like I went supercharged, and had a lead and did the number. About 50 meters to go, I'm hearing the woo from the crowd. I said, "What they cheering so hard for?" I'm like, I'm almost over. What are they cheering for? And I decided to look back, and Aaron and I's eyes locked.
Oh no!
And his eyes was a lot more ferocious than my eyes at the moment, and it was because he seen me shocked to see him so close, and he seen me like I'm not done. Yeah. And it went down to the last lean. We both ran 148 right there, and he got me at the lean, and I just kind of passed out and just couldn't breathe, and just part anxiety, part upset. Part tired, and never really got a chance to like shake his hand and congratulate him until 20 years later, which I'm glad I did, and
absolutely
we broke bread, kind of analyze and just hearing, the support system that he had that led up to that moment.
Yes.
And how everything that they said, they had the same strategy to do that. That was strategy, and they planned it. They said, and they were planning that since April, and I was like, oh man. And so it's cool to hear the strategy behind it, the passion, the support, and definitely, catapulted our careers to another level, to college level, and definitely just to be able to go through something like that and be a bigger person about it later on in life and be able to break bread and was great friendship. I love to continue. So 95 though. That's one YouTube race that's on some of my Route 2 races. That's one that's there. It took me a while to look at it, and then I looked at it, I was like, ooh, that was a good race.
It's funny. You experienced that that loss your junior year, that great race. I won't even call it a loss.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because and not that loss is an insult, but when you put in an individual race, when you put everything you have into it, you've planned, you've trained, you've sweat, you've missed, you've sacrificed, you've missed, dates and
dances,
and
dates,
graduations and all that kind of stuff
yeah.
that the elite athlete has to give up to attain, achieve, and maintain that level of performance in an individual sport. Just thinking my junior year, we lost in the semifinals 34 to 28. We turned the ball over. There was a little bit of moisture, but that wasn't the thing. Turned the ball over 4 times. As it was just this is high school. I haven't cried. I've buried tons of people, family, friends. I haven't cried that hard since that November of 1990 year, and oh my goodness,
sticks with it's some of those things that stick with builds character, but it sticks you like you feel it.
Man, come on, and so we could now obviously as an individual, I'm 5'10", and my wife will say I'm not 5'11". I'm 5'10", 3/4 of 255, 260, and I was flat-footed and the reason I can coach is because I was such a fan from 100 years ago, because I'm like, okay, these guys are doing something that I can physically not do. Not because I can't train for it. I just didn't have, I was born with the wrong parents. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, you can work hard. It's hard, but yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, here we go. Okay, so back to Fanboy.
Yeah. All right.
So your senior year is coming. Now tell me about, in the 90s, we talked earlier about not having social media and email or any of that kind of stuff. So
tell
me about the recruiting process. How are coaches reaching out to you, coming to you, approaching you and saying, hey, we could really use your services at such and such university?
Yeah, I remember the first time that was a thing. Like that was a thing. Like there's people in the audience that are looking at you and keeping track of you and wanting to eventually, recruit you to be on their collegiate team. And I love football. I watch college football and everything. And earlier I told you about that. And so I like the USC and UCLA, just East Coast Notre Dame, just because I like college football, and so I kind of knew about the colleges that way.
Absolutely.
But not until with track, I didn't think about it like that. Well, my dad was a big person. Well, there's one part. Let me go back and be a little more factual. My dad did say the only way you go into college, you got to get it the scholarship. I'm not paying for you to go to college.
Okay.
So I remember that early. So yeah, I knew there was a way to get to college, and he did too. But it wasn't like the whole recruiting thing, like you're saying, like the people there looking and this. So it came to reality, or like real 3D when I at the 1990, when I was 12, that same year with West Valley Eagles, and I walked down I caught this guy on my third leg by about, it looked like 80 meters away. He wasn't in the frame for a long time when recording, but I was able to I was able to catch
whoever
him.
You are, brother. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that right there. I got that video. I'm gonna share that video with you. Yeah. And so after that race, there's a couple of ladies from the team. I don't know where they're from, or another team, and it's like, "Oh, you're illegal." And then I remember she's calling, "That's illegal what you did." And then somebody else is like, "You know what? You just earned yourself a scholarship at USC. When you just keep yourself right, you're gonna go to USC." And I was like, just like that. And I felt like that relief, like that plane ticket relief, like, stuff like this can lead me already getting there. Like, okay, what my dad was saying, it can actually come to fruition, right? So And then fast forwarded to where I started getting the letters. That was such a cool thing, getting letters from
Yeah.
Harvard. First letter was from like an Ivy League school.
Nice.
And then it started to Kansas was a lot, and this and that, and just getting these letters from your coaches or coming to your mail, and you just sit down and read and see what the temperature's like, what everything's like, and then being able to start getting the phone calls from the coaches.
Yeah.
A reason why I laugh because it gets kind of real right now. So, oh man, so I think a big part of it, my dad wanted to be like part of the package deal on me going to college.
Okay.
Okay. And a lot of NCAA that, you can't really do that. Well, obviously found out later, but
sure.
A lot of my, I only went on went on 2 recruitment trips. You're allowed like 5.
Yeah.
And if my dad couldn't go, he was just like, all right, basically you're going to stay he wanted me to go to USC. He's like, you're going to go to USC.
Okay.
So if pretty much I thought I was written to USC, so I didn't go on any other recruitment trips. Really, I didn't. I went on USC during like the fall and was pretty much locked in there. I would love, if I can say, I really love talking to Curtis Fry. I really felt connected with him in North Carolina. And just the phone, out of all the people I talked to on the phone, like that's one guy I would love to have been around in a college setting or something, right? And
he just so wonderful with those teams.
Right. Right. And so that's, looking back at it now, I'm glad Facebook can keep me connected with a lot of these amazing, coaches and just see their, their demeanor, their humanity and contribution to the sport. Then, oh my gosh, this is one of those where I might as well just put it out there. So Stanford called, and my dad for some reason was like, okay, what are you going to do for me? And the coach was like, what, I'm gonna get your son this. And I wasn't allowed to talk to him. Next thing you know, he pretty much hangs up on the coach from Stanford, Ben. And wow. I end up fast forward running for the Nike farm team after UCLA up here. That's where I moved up to Stanford or Northern California. And he was the director of track and field here at Stanford. And a big help with this Nike farm team. And such a nice guy. And to this, but at the moment I felt so, like my gut was just like, because I've seen that hang up happen, and I was like, oh man, here he is. Nice guy, and never brought it up, and was just totally respectful, and even to this day he gives me hugs and stuff. So it's nice. It was one of those. It's just like this is my pop's decision pretty much. That's right. And so and I was just going along with it, like, hey, all right, USC, this is where I'm going. And then I don't know, my dad heard something and thought that they had other motives. I don't know what happened, and he was just like, you're not going to USC anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. You're going, it's like, let's go, it's called UCLA, pretty much. That's what we did. And so we went on a recruiting trip, I want to say in like the spring, and next thing you know, I signed in the spring to UCLA, like total switch. I'm like, I'm going to UCLA. Wow. So pretty much my recruitment was letters, a couple of phone calls, and then like 2 recruitment trips. One to USC, where I had the most spiciest hot wings in my life, where I burnt all my taste buds. That's what I remember. And then UCLA recruitment trip, where I was introduced to John Godina and Jonathan Ogden. Jonathan Ogden is a Hall of Famer tackle at Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so,
go ahead. Finish, please. So, I have a Jonathan Ogden story.
Oh, what? Okay, so
yes, I do.
I want to say the paramedics had just left the weight room, and I go in there, and I was like, "Oh, we're trying to figure out what happened. Oh, this is Jonathan, this and that." And it's like, "Oh, what? Find out what happened." And apparently, either Jonathan Ogden, I think, they were lifting stuff, bench pressing, where the bar was bending before they even lit, like this, the bar bending weight, whatever that is. And apparently it slipped and bumped his chest and bounced, and he caught it back up and lifted. But they just came and checked just to make sure everything's fine. And he was fine. When I saw him, they were laughing about it. Like, yeah, it bounced off my chest. And you just shake this guy's hand, and his whole hand is, how you doing, young man? Dude. And that was amazing, right?
Yeah. So you're talking about these 2 schools, right? I'm a SoCal guy growing up in Los Angeles. It's one of these 2. I don't even know that. I mean, I graduated from California State University, CSU Dominguez Hills. I didn't even know
Yeah.
Dominguez Hills was a place. I didn't even know that was a thing. And but the two times that I wished I would have studied more, or and dedicated a little less time to watching my sport of football. I
Mm-hmm.
was at USC for spring ball, and Tony Baselli went by me, and it was like, what happened to the sun?
Yeah.
And you know, Tony Baselli, and went on. He played for I think he played for the Jaguars or somewhere, in the league. But he,
Yeah.
All American
Yeah.
at USC. Same thing. So in UCLA, to their credit, they were so kind while Donahue was still the coach. Actually, I think it may have been his first year gone, and the guy that replaced him that had been at Fresno State, San Jose State, he they invited us in. It was the first time I saw intercut video. I was watching film. It was at UCLA. We're at the spring game, and Jonathan Ogden in cleats with a helmet on goes by me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking at the time, Tony Baselli is the biggest human I've ever seen
Yeah.
live. No. When
No.
Big Jo went by, I was like, golly gee. And at the time, I always wore a mustache, and so we kind of look alike, but his
Yeah.
head is just that much larger.
Yeah.
Oh my
He had that fro. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, when I seen that, I was like, oh, these are men at this. These are
Yes.
men.
No,
I was like, oh, okay.
no. They're not men. They're giants.
They're giants. These are giants. I mean, Godina and I mean, the two of the strongest people on that campus that day.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I remember at one point too, the throats team had to make their own weight room at the top of Drake Stadium because, or now Rayford Johnson Stadium now, right? Is it, or is it?
Have they changed the name, or they?
I want to say
they slashed it probably.
That's cool. I want to say either last year or the year before. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out rest in peace Johnson. Too.
Rest
in peace. Yes, rest in power.
He was so wonderful.
Oh, the stories around that too.
Every time I met that brother, every time I went to Drake, he was there. There was never a meet that I went to at UCLA and didn't run into Rayford Johnson. He was always there.
And, great Bruin, great American.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and his son, Josh Johnson, went the same time I was there. Well, he's a couple years older than me, so that was just, it was just one of those things. I was so proud of that experience there, and just to see, and this is what I was thinking the other day with again with the record that I have and what has been allowed me the privilege to either talk upon certain stuff or have conversations, to have the honor of having a say about a race or what's going on now, and have a conversation. And just to have that connection from history to what's going on now, it's a true privilege. Also what it is too, I was like, I always look back about, I would love to go to the Olympics, obviously, and gold and all that stuff.
Sure.
But one thing that I say that record has gotten me was the privilege to be around these other Olympians. I was right there with them, and there was days before practice, I was sitting there watching the birth of the dry phase with Otto Bowden, John Drummond, John Smith, Maurice Green, getting in the blocks right there, and just seeing the torque on their shoes that close. Seeing everything about them, the jokes, and then what it entails to be that level athlete, from the meal prep to the massage therapy. Massage therapy was kind of groundbreaking back then, as far as having that be a part of your training.
Absolutely.
And so me being a student of the sport that way, being from a person that had this time that got you into this next level, and then just open your world, from coming from a inner city of Bell Gardens, that side of the tracks, redlining, folks that kind of fit in a certain demographic, to UCLA, to seeing so many different ethnicities, seeing people that came from, that's another part, seeing people that came from their state, their high school, and they dominated. Exactly. And they, and so to be amongst that, I truly call it a privilege. And it brought me to something I was thinking before the interview about how the Olympics was meant to be. I think this is before the modern Olympics. This is back in the day.
Gotcha.
And I think I remember reading that it was a way of bringing people together and to have a marker in history that people can remember, talk about as a community, Olympic community.
Yes.
And so every that 4 years is a way, oh, you remember. And so that's how I kind of felt, not making it to Olympics, but being that record kind of got me into that realm of being right there to be able to say, I touched this, I've seen that, and whatever I can gain from that, I've been able to help my kids or other youth and to say, hey, this is a story, this is how it's done, this is how they come into, this is how they attack the game, this is their mind frame, this is what I saw, not just me, I got there too, and this is what worked, but this is what Otto did. I remember one story about him. This is going into the 96 Olympics. Okay. He would change. Do you remember having, you probably still do. I don't have it, but a landline. And then there was the voicemail. So when it went from the tape to the actual voicemail in the thing, right? So he would change every day. He would change. It's 98 days left for me to make the Olympics. And like pretty much. Oh, wow. Like this Otto Bowden, and he would change it every day, and just the commitment of him thinking that, just to say, just awesome. To keep that goal, to write it down, and to manifest it that way, and that's something I learned growing up, but just to see how other elite athletes really kind of have a common denominator about the way that they can visualize it. So from that, I would have a coined a term for myself. Pretty sure it's been said before, but something that I stick to is visualize victory. Like see yourself win, see your race, and I would tell my athletes when I was coaching, I was like, see yourself winning, see yourself running the race, see yourself coming from behind, see yourself leading. Well, what do? You just see visualize victory. There's times where I would do that in warm up, and then I'll hear my dad from across the field, slow down, you're just warming up. And I was like, that's incredible how your mind can put you in a race and you can just be warming up, and how it translates to the body. And in that warm up, I was really, taking off. So it's just something that I feel that connection where I was able to open more doors for myself to network with more people. Absolutely. And just to have that access to knowledge and stuff is just, it's priceless.
I wanted to go back just to a couple of things. First, in reference to Rayford Johnson, yes, now it's going to be Drake Stadium and Betsy Rayford Johnson Stadium.
Gotcha. That's right.
As of 2019.
That's right.
And then, as it relates to visualization, I've worked with, now everybody's, I won't say it's crossing over from athletics to, just regular personal individuals with the concept of mindfulness, making sure that you're grounded. One of the things that we do when we get off the bus at the next stadium is, hey, walk 2 laps, not only to get a feel for the track, but just not only to let the blood flow in your legs again, but hey, just get it, make sure now that you can, you can picture everything that you've done at your place. Now you're going to, okay, here's my check marks. Here's what 150 looks like to go. All right, 150, boom, boom, boom. Their zones are, now everybody's doing, with different surfaces. They've got the extended zone, but the entire zone, is painted, all the way back the entire 30 meters. And so, it's like, okay, well, they're like at our place, the zones are red and the main track is gray, which has only been that way for 3 years at the college, at Antelope Valley College. And then, but everywhere's a little bit different. Are the curves a little longer? Are the curves a little tighter? A little shorter? Is lane one almost, banked? You know what I mean? So it's getting that feel, getting that visualization, saying, okay, these are the adjustments I'm going to have to make out there today. Yeah, it's everything. It's, your ability to replicate what you're going to feel in that moment. You got, you have experience that you can draw from. You can say, okay, I don't want to hear the crowd yelling for the other guy or yelling, hey, you better hurry up. You only got 10 meters, dude's closing on you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got, two short Otto Golden stories from
Okay.
from 96 and 98. So I told you I'm a fan. So so I'm at Drake the day that Otto goes 20.0 in the 200 to set the stadium record. And so I see him after the Olympics at USC. The following year at Locher Stadium, they're going to do something. It's the first meet, or it's a dual meet, and he's outside. He's got his big truck now. He's a baller. He's a pro. And all
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I see him.
All those speakers. The speakers right here. Yeah.
So I see him. I said, hey man, and he's like, hey, how you been? I'm like, oh, doing great. So I said, remember that 20 point? I was like, yeah. He's like, funny story about that. He's like, we went over to the tent to see if we could get it rolled down to, 1999. And he's like, the timer was like, you better get out of here before it's 20.02. So, I mean, just fun stuff. Yeah, just fun at the track.
Yes.
I mean, oh my goodness, dude. And
that's good. That's cool. You tried to champion for him. That's true. Because I see sometimes.
No, he did that. No, he was doing it.
Oh, he did.
He was doing it. Yeah, I'm just in the stands. No,
That's right. Okay.
He and the coaches went over. And they're like, you better get out of here before it's 20.
That's hilarious.
Good stuff.
That is it. That 1999. That 20. That is. You were like, let that tick down. I can imagine.
That tick down. That signing bonus money is going to change if I.
Oh man,
but I mean that year, that summer, that was the changing of the guard year. I mean, that was Carl's last Olympics. Michael Johnson, Michael Johnson setting the world record. 200, and that 200 was so hot. I mean, Frankie Fredericks. Jeff Williams. Jeff Lewis. It's Jeff Williams.
Jeff Williams, right?
Yeah,
from America, right? The American.
Yes. And
was Marsh in there? No, it was.
Did Mike? No, I think Mike was in.
Frankie Fredericks.
Mike.
Yeah.
Frankie.
That was
Otto. Yeah, Frankie Otto.
Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson was. Yeah, I think that was the medal stand, and Jeff was fourth, I think. And then was I think, I don't know if Linford Christie was still in that.
That's the name I was trying to think. Well, he was definitely 100.
Yeah.
Donovan Bailey.
He got. Oh yeah, Bailey. But was Bailey?
Bailey's the 100. That's
Bailey's
right.
100. But
and then
he was the young guy. But because Linford Christie, that was the year. Okay, was 96 the year that Linford Christie got disqualified and stayed on the track.
Yeah.
Remember that? Took his shirt off and he stayed on the track. And he was arguing because he was from Great Britain.
Yes, that was it. Yes. That was what happened. Yep.
There you go.
I just seen a picture of that recently. That's why I kind of froze. I was like, I just saw this picture recently. John Drummond posted it recently on the track and field page on Facebook.
Okay.
I was like trying to figure out what that was.
The singing sprinter from Kirk Franklin and the family.
That dude can sing. And he is just hilarious. He's always been hilarious to me. I'm like, what? The Clown Prince? They used to call him the Clown Prince.
That's right.
Field.
I know. He got him and who was it? Him and Dennis and
Dennis Mitchell.
Him, Dennis, Maurice. I'm trying to think who the fourth guy was. They got in trouble because they did some clown, silly picture with taking all the shirts off and flexing or something. And whatever. And
look, to this day, I mean, today that's like, go for it. It's amazing the difference, how things change, right?
But a bunch of dudes like me that never could do it, sitting up there like, these guys shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, right. Somebody tried to say that to me about Steph Curry the other day, and he was just like, Steph Curry good, but I don't like the way he kind of celebrates after the shot. I'm like, I said, first and foremost, if you've been able to kind of move your body like that, I said, the way he celebrates, that's not dancing. That's the
Yeah.
spirit, what's in him that
Yes.
makes him move like that
Yes.
and shoot like that. That's just the way his spirit is still moving him. He don't even
Yeah.
know he doing that.
That dude, Steph Curry is a monster. That kid he's so amazing. I mean, I remember, talking about 95, 96, I remember his dad playing for the
Yeah.
Charlotte Hornets and other teams and just, in the
Raining
3-point
three.
contest every year,
Yep.
Del Curry is doing it, man.
And it's amazing how that was. Is Del Curry? Somebody posted posted a stat, something, Kobe Bryant's in Hall of Fame. Rest in peace, Kobe. Oh,
Yes.
that hurts so
Yes.
bad still. But
Oh man.
yeah. But there was a question that was posted to me. I seen it and I was wanting to know. It's like Kobe's dad played in NBA.
Yeah.
And he posted
Jelly Bean Bryant.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he's Bean. I didn't know that part. Why she said Bean.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're saying, is this the first child of an NBA player that's nominated or inducted to the Hall of Fame? And I'm just like, whoa. That's something.
I love basketball. But, I'm not in the archives like that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's one of those. If you just want to have the thinking face, just kind of just ask that question. You're like,
yeah.
All right. That's the thinking face question. So I like those little trivias every now and then.
Absolutely. Okay, Mike. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So here we go.
All right.
Senior year, 96. There's nobody left. You're the guy.
Yeah.
And unless Obi tries to double, there's guys on the periphery, but you're the guy.
Yeah.
Let's go to that fateful night. It's Friday night. We're at Cerritos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is your plan to get the record that night? Was that from jump? We're gonna go out hard and set this. This is the night. We'll come back and try to finish it up tomorrow.
Yeah. So there was few things. There was a lot of things coming up to a head at those 2 days.
Okay.
One was getting an A standard for the Olympic trials.
Gotcha.
Having an A standard for the Olympic trials meant that you can get your trip provided. Exactly. Otherwise, if you didn't, you had to find your way there. So there was a way that get your plane ticket. Get your plane ticket.
There you go.
So I didn't have my Olympic trials plane ticket yet.
That's right.
2, there was this guy named George Kirsch it was the last. Remember earlier I told you there was papers up on the wall, and he was pretty much one of the last ones up because he had the national record at 146.58.
Wow.
And I had run 147 already and a couple times and 148 earlier that year.
Mm-hmm.
There was always seemed to be a wind blowing around the track. I remember that was something in 1996 in track. So leading up to that day, Friday morning was a recognition day for academics at Bell Gardens High School. Okay. So we went there, came back a little late, and my dad was under pressure. He's feeling the pressure himself.
Yeah.
And it was all building up. We have that race, and I'm already usually the day of. I'm kind of just on edge, but kind of calmed down. And he must have been feeling it and was upset that we were late. Okay. And just kind of took off all the papers, and it was just like, and my brother. I'm 12 years older than my brother.
Okay.
Comes up to me and says, Tutu, that's my nickname growing up. Tutu, whatever you do, please break that record. Because he felt like that would bring some peace in the house. This is it'll calm everybody down. From the mouth of babes, they see the truth.
Yeah.
And just speak their facts.
You're right.
And the way he told me, he told me the way he sat down next to me like he was an uncle that was that part of the game. Wow. He didn't even look at me. He looked straight forward. It's like, hey, whatever you do, break that record. And he peaced. Then he left. Like,
and your brother's 5 years. He's 5 years old at the time.
Yes. His birthday was June 3rd or 2nd, June 3rd. So that was May 31st. So yeah, he was still 5. Wow. And so he and when he said that was my goal. That was it. I was like, I'm gonna do this for my brother. I'm gonna do this. I know I need to do this myself, but I'm gonna do this for him. And then
that's amazing.
We kind of quiet that whole day. Pops is quiet. I'm just tuned in and just like whatever. I'm just gonna run until I can't run anymore.
Mm.
And then my dad breaks the silence once we get to the track. You know how we just talked. We did the same. We would walk around trying to assess everything, get the vibe of everything.
Yep.
And he was like, "Hey, Mike," I look at him. He's like, "What?" He says, "Look at those flags. You know how you have those triangle flags that kind of cut people off from the field events and cutting across it. You know the flags, yeah."
Yep.
And he looked at him and was like, and they were just pointing down. They were not moving. No wave at all.
No wind today.
He says, "No wind. This is the day to do it. This is the day." I'm like, all right. So I warm up, get my Tiger Bomb on, get my I was still running in Quincy Watts' shoes that he gave me. I ran every high school race in those shoes, even the first 2 years when I didn't fit in them, because I felt like, it got him to the Olympic gold. It's going to get me somewhere, and it got me every high school national record in high school, every high school record in the 800 meters. So anyway, I decide that it's either all going to prevail after the 600 or it's all going to end at the 600. But I am going so let's go back to practice.
Okay.
3 weeks prior, I want to say, we went to Compton College. That whenever we go lace up to go to Compton College, that my dad went to Compton College for a year or two and before North Carolina, and my family's around Compton as well. So
nice.
So we went on that red dirt track, and he's like, he wanted me to get out of the comfort zone of running a calm third 200. Okay. I found my pacifier was to get out hard and then kind of calm down that middle 400 from 200 to 600 and then blast again the last 200. Gotcha. And he's like, to get that record, you're going to have to run the third 200. Yeah. And so we ran a time trial. Maybe it was a 700 or something. Okay. It was something like a 700, but the main thing was to run that 400, that 4 to 6 hard. Yes. And then catch up. He put my sister out about 150 out. Okay. And I had to catch her too. So it was all kind of things aiming. So soon as I got to the 400 and I ran, he had me running fast and he said, "Go." And I ran that 200 so hard, caught my sister, and then ran to the 700, but I ran that too. And I was like, and he says, "You ran that and you're still able to keep on that turn. Mm-hmm. You can do it." And so I remembered that part too. So, and also too, it was the beauty of being the prelim. So you knew people weren't so I can go ahead and be a little riskier. There you go. So and one more thing, you had 2 days to do it. So I was like, okay, I have this night and this night. So yes, go up to the line, and I was like, this is going to happen. Get on that. Everybody was talking, it was a prelims. Yeah. And I get out, and I was just like, I'm going to go. I'm running a 400. No, I'm running a 400, then I'm running a 200, and then whatever happens, happens. So I get out, I come across around 51 seconds, 51. Listening to it now on the recording, I'll get into that later, but I found a recording of it, and you can hear the announcer saying, "I hope Michael knows that there's another race tomorrow." Is anybody else looking at this? I think he's doing something special tonight, and you start seeing people hone in. So I get across at 51, and in my mind, I set off. Like my dad yelled out, "Go!" during that time trial. Yeah. In my mind, I heard the gun go off again. And I just compartmentalized my thoughts to running that 200 as hard as I could at that time. And looking at the video, I remember seeing those next 10 steps after the bell had sound that my head was down and I was running a 200. There you go. I get to that 600 meter mark. My dad is all the times it's been a state meet, any pretty much race, he would be at that place, the 200 left, the 600 meter mark. Mm-hmm. He wasn't. I didn't hear him. And Coach, I don't hear anything during my races back then. But I could always hear my dad's voice. There you go. And I couldn't hear it. I was like, oh, well, all right. And then I'm on that that final turn coming home, where the warm-up field was, and it was just so quiet over there. And as I'm feeling, as I come through that 600 and I'm at this side of the abyss, I'm like, man, I feel pretty good. Yeah. Like I'm all right. I'm still running. Yeah. It's quiet. Where's my dad? Just keep going. All right. Just let it flow. And then at the 700 mark, I hear my dad there. Okay. 129, 130. And I'm doing the math very quick. I said, man, if I can get a 15-second, you know, I got this record.
There you go.
And so I take off again. Whew, slowly start hearing the crowd moving. I was like, what? This is going to be something big. And then with 50 to go, I felt my legs were tree trunks. I felt like both feet were on the ground at the same time, which is something you don't want to do unless you have skates on. And so definitely in a race, I was like, please make it to this line, standing up. And by the grace of God, I was able to, you know, stand up through the line with a 1:46.45, and just to hear the crowd and hear that time and see that time and 25 years later know that moment is something, you know, we can still all share. It's a part of American history, you know, something that I'm very proud of. And at that point I was like, I'm done. I did this, I qualified, I'm done. And when I say I'm done, I was like, I was not going to run the next day. I was not. Part of it was just a little overwhelmed for what happened earlier.
Sure.
And some things that just kind of, you know, made me feel like, what is this all about? You know, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, now you talking, now you cool. How about this? I'm not gonna run tomorrow. And I was not. I was like, I'm done. And he said, Michael, you know, he apologized, and he said, how about this? Just get out there. You can't do that to the people. You can't do that to yourself. There's gonna be people out there tomorrow. and he said, you got to come back. You got to finish this for yourself. And how about this? Just go out the first 200. And there was a fast runner up from up here. I can't think of his name, but he was a twin brother, and he ended up winning state the next year. They're 148 runners, both of them. Okay. And so, but he was in a race, very credible threat, you know, for anything. Yeah. But I got out, but I know what happened, that people are, and I've heard this a lot, and I tell this to my athletes, I even instill it in my sons, because I've heard it where people say, oh, Mike's here, I'm going for second place, I'm going for third. Not to say that any of them thought that, but my dad felt it. He's like, you just did this last night, they're going to leave you alone. Sure. Especially if you go out like you did last night. Yeah. So after that, he says, go ahead and resort back to your comfort middle lap. And then just start. They're probably going to notice that they're probably tired, or you're not running like you did yesterday. Yeah. And about the 200-meter mark, you might start feeling something. Yeah. Go ahead and take it home. Once you start feeling a threat to your lead, just take control. Gotcha. And that's what I did. And I got out, and that got me out there. Thank God that happened. It was way more people there on that Saturday than it was that Friday night. Oh yeah. Standing room only, especially after hearing what happened the day before. Oh yeah. And I, you know, did the strategy. This race is on YouTube. I got out the first 200. When I say walk, is just slang for just, I didn't put that much effort into to really pushing. And then the last 200, I felt brother from the north up here on my shoulder. And then I was ready to rock. Came through in about 150 and won my second state championship, which was, looking back, I'm glad I did that, you know, finish that. It's something that I can share with my kids. Like, no matter what's going through, finish what you start, you know, and, you know, go ahead and push through it for yourself, because it's going to benefit you pretty much in the long run. You're not what you're trying to, you know, get back at somebody with, you know, so just go ahead. And it was a great situation, great feeling to win that. And especially 25 years later, knowing that I did complete that, not just got the record and walked away.
I was on the fence. Okay. Oh no. I was on the fence that night, the Friday night I'm talking about. Because we were trying to qualify on the mile relay just a couple of minutes later after there's no, 3,200 goes straight to final. So
that's right.
It was the very next thing was going to be in the heats. So I'm sitting there on the fence. I'm right under the press box. So I'm at, I guess, the 150 mark after the start. Okay. I'm sitting there and I'm on the fence on the stadium level. And one of the coaches, I can't remember, I won't say what school he was from. I do remember, but I won't say what school he was from. But, you know, you came through the quarter at 50 point, and he was like, who this little think he is, Johnny Gray in this? And I was like, I will never, God is my witness, I will never forget that. Not the fact that you came through at 50. What he said about what you coming through at 50 was so perfect. It was like Robin Harris was there commenting on the race. It was the most poignant statement at the time.
That's
It was great.
hilarious.
But
Yeah.
you
And
talking
I
about.
was trying to be my Johnny Gray. Yeah, that's the
Oh
way.
yeah, absolutely,
It's like that's
absolutely.
the way you run that race.
Yes, and there wasn't a good time to say it before. I wasn't going to cut you off, but back to the fan perspective. I was 92. Q's. You're running in Quincy's shoes. 92. I'm a freshman at West LA College, and West LA has a beautiful 800-meter, 45-degree angle hill on the backside of the college. So the SC guys and the UCLA kids will always be there and come, and that's where I met Q the first time. It was before the Olympics, and he's coming out, and then after, when his grandparents' home was robbed and his medals were stolen.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah, and so anytime I see him after that, just before he started coaching and all those kind of things, it was first, of course, it was fandom, and then it was more like friendom, and now coach kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just so happy to see him, still active and coaching at USC, and
very important,
great.
man, in this
Absolutely
influence in this sport. Very important man, and just to
Good
see
dude.
him and what he's doing with Michael Norman and Ray, it's
incredible.
Yeah, and again, he's one of those where, service to others is the rent we pay for our space here on Earth, and he is definitely paying it for it, and not only for obviously him, his close circle, his athletes, but just for fans, for American that loves that quarter mile and event, and to see it continue to move on from that person that we all have this little connection with. And I cheer for him. I cheer for him all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good news.
So you head over. So now, okay, so that was May 31st. That Memorial Day weekend. Were you able to attend graduation?
No? So I want to say that next week was Olympic trials, or the following week. It seemed to happen so close together.
Yeah.
In graduation. So anyway, no, I didn't attend graduation because I was in Atlanta.
Sure.
It was like, no, Brent, I'm going to Atlanta to reach my Olympic dream. Especially when they had me in the yearbook as class Olympian. I was like, I got to live up to this. So no, was able to. The community was able to raise up some funds to send my dad as well.
Nice.
Which is great. I worked at the local Bell Gardens Elementary. I was a teacher's assistant, one of my first jobs, and it was something else to have that support from them as their person that's sent into the Olympic trials and representing, Bell Gardens, it was a point where you accept that level of respect and being a role model in a way, and just saying, hey, you can do this and show. And I like that. I like it. I want to lead by example and by good words and motivation. And so I end up missing the graduation, but my sister was salutatorian.
Okay.
And so she was able to give a speech and brought up my name.
Twins?
So she skipped the grade. The grade.
Oh, yes. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But we're about 14 months apart. So we're pretty close too in age. Okay. But she skipped 8th grade. She's total brain out. She would help me a lot with my English classes and stuff, and I'll help her out with her art classes. And so we made it work.
That's awesome, man. Hey, that's beautiful. Yeah. That's great.
So no, it was, and that's one person that we've gone through my whole high school track. She was right there with me through all the practices and stuff. So a lot of times when I forget what happened, she'll call, you remember this time when you raced them or this and this? I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. And so it was a different type of thing. You got your dad, but having somebody right there with you and through every moment, and now 20 something years later to be able to she has a memory of certain things I do, and we can come back in the dinner table sometimes or on the text messages and say, you remember that, or remember that time, even random stuff, just singing Jodeci after certain meets, or just Jodeci came. We was Mary J. Blige. We had that. Dude, was going places.
Oh my goodness. Well, like you said, 96. So in that previous year, 95. With Montel Jordan, was that song? People have no idea.
This is how we do it.
I mean, we're still playing that song
Yeah.
now every Friday. And that song was so big in 95, man. That thing was just everywhere.
Yeah.
96, I mean, okay, we got Biggie. Biggie comes out. You
Biggie,
said Mary
Jay-Z starting
J,
to come through.
Jodeci.
Jay-Z starting. Foxy
Yeah,
Brown was starting to really break
yeah,
titles as a female rapper, you know. But
yeah.
then
Wow.
I remember it getting into. There was a meme I seen recently. It's like, if you don't love me like 90s R&B, I don't want it. I want. And I'm like, that's right. Love it. I was keeping on 102.9 up here.
Oh man, that's great. That's wonderful. Dale.
Yeah.
So I read, saw that you wrote that you wrote an article to yourself, to your younger self, a couple of years back, and it was featured on Flow Track. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And as we, in retrospect, as we're looking back to '96, even back just a couple of years. I mean, it's been how's your? I mean, we've seen most of your family tonight. It was so wonderful to meet your children and everything, just with the ice cream and the little baby. But you guys obviously survived, through the COVID period.
Oh, thank you. That's right. Oh yeah, we had a whole pandemic.
We just jumped in. I forgot all.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, you survived. We good. That's right, man. I think a big part of that is that right now things kind of feel a little bit more normal and stuff. I got a whole hat rack over here full of masks. Home can't wait to put my hats back on that. But it was a time that I dug deep in that pandemic. We were just here, really being with the family, just battling some of my own demons and just kind of getting my mind right and understanding, refocusing, coming out of this right. I gained my, pandemic 15 and all that good stuff. Now I'm back. I just need another 7 pounds. I'll be all right for July.
Well, I'm glad because the machine that we know you to be, I'm glad for you to say that you gained your little COVID-19.
Yes.
I'm cool with that. Okay,
I'm putting out. Yes. I felt more empowered when I seen Will Smith say it. So I was like, all right, Will can say it. Let me go ahead and go.
For real. I was like,
and that's it. Representation matters. It's good. Yeah, right. So I felt I put him on. Oh, I put him on, and I enjoyed every ounce. But now I feel like we're all even inside the house. My wife, she's on a mission. I'm on a mission. I talked to my mom. She dropped she dropped it plus extras. So
nice.
We're all having a kind of a family reunion, kind of post pandemic. Hey, I haven't seen you in 2 years.
That's
up
right.
Here in Santa Cruz. So it'll be great to see everybody. So we have something to kind of train for, right? And so, but going back to the article, I was approached by Corey Mull from Flow Track, and they were having a series called, Letter to My Younger Self. And gave me, some leeway to talk about. And I was gonna I wanted to bring it around a race, kind of leading up into the record, and maybe mostly not bettering my time, after that race and in any of my times, pretty much. But it was and then I went through a couple other things. Then what happened was I remember calling my dad, and I've been asking for the recording of the record for years. I was like, and it's getting to the point, I was like, I don't want it to get messed up. Maybe I can convert it to a DVD if people still know what those are.
Yeah.
Something, and I even had some people up here like they know of companies that can do the conversion.
Yeah.
And upon talking to him about it, and he basically told me they were destroyed. And it just I didn't dig deeper into how they were destroyed or whatever, but there's just something that part of my gut feeling was just like, I didn't like that answer. And it just kind of brought up more stuff from that growing up. And so I got permission from my mom and asked her, as like, I remember my record as being like this. This is something I remember happening. And I've always, whenever coming up, when people ask me about the record, if people have, or about the record, and what was you thinking? And I remember I would just just not bringing up the truth. I was like, you know, I knew this is the last 2 days, but a big part of what happened that morning was a big TNT of why I ran like that. You know, it was huge TNT,
Gotcha.
and it was years of that kind of building up. You know, just little things here and there. So I asked my mom. I said, and my mom, we have a great relationship. My mom is a powerful woman to go from nothing. When I say nothing,
Mm,
to nothing but the whatever's in her purse
mm,
and maybe one shoe, maybe that, and started her life over. And now she has a house to her name.
mm,
She's earning good business and money. It's
mm.
just a great
It's wonderful.
success story. And that's somebody that's related to me and I can still have as a resource and a
Yeah.
connection. So
Yeah.
I said, Mom, is this what happened? Like, this is how I remember this day. And is it
Mm,
okay if I kind of bring this up? And she says, not only that happened, you're right, but this is also why he was like that. Woo, 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 woo.
mm,
And he was one of that was a controlling person. And if it wasn't by his way, especially if the woman wasn't acting right, he would let her know. And
mm,
so I was like, you know what? Here's a letter to my younger self
mm.
because you wanted to quit that day. You
Yeah.
wanted to run to oblivion.
Mm,
But you have more things to do. This record is definitely something that you're going to remember. We're going to talk about to this day and
yeah.
beyond.
Yeah.
And you've always held it that you didn't really tell the ins around because every time you ask about it, I think about that day and
Mm-hmm.
hearing from other people, they see me as the record holder. Man, what would you do to get that? Oh, how's
Right.
your dad doing? And I'm just like, things are good, that was a
Yeah.
record, but
Yeah.
that day is definitely there's a whole story behind it. And so
Sure.
once I got the permission from my mom and hearing from her side what happened that coincided with my memory
Yes.
and of what I thought and with Mario and everything, she goes, yeah, everything that you're saying is exactly what happened.
Gotcha.
And the way I wrote it, I just there was definitely a tornado. There was the tornado in the
Mm-hmm.
house of papers and
Gotcha.
clocks.
Gotcha.
And so
Hmm.
and I was like, you know what, here it is. And I wanted to write, and I was truly writing to myself. I wrote it, and it was a way of giving that younger person the feeling of there's other stuff besides this record that you're going to accomplish, that there's people that you're going to reach. You're going to have a beautiful, and that's something I always wanted is just a wife and kids. And I guess sometimes people who grow up in a kind of a tough situations want to have kids, so he's like, it's going to make it better. And
Yeah.
and that's not always the case,
Yeah.
and can almost recycle some of the same things because you don't know.
Absolutely.
And so, but with the grace of God, a wonderful wife, and therapy and
Yes.
self and digging deep,
Yes.
I'm understanding that take ego out the way and understand that the older I get, the younger my teachers are, and I
Mm,
want to be that
mm,
person to
mm.
listen and to learn and definitely give my old school way of thinking and discipline and stuff and
Yeah.
know that this will take you somewhere, but at the same time in this age of social media and
Yeah.
stuff, what it's all about. So it was just a way of me telling myself, yo, this is what you had to do, this is what led up to it,
Yeah.
but this is what's going to lead on from to other things you can celebrate, but you're also going to there's other stuff that you're going to accomplish.
That's right.
And most importantly with family, starting a business, that was something that was really happy about. End
Yeah.
up coaching, be able to share knowledge is something that I feel is very important
Absolutely.
from that article, and that's where I went with it.
Yeah.
It definitely I had some amazing support in comments. Uh, Teammates and coaches finally said, I finally met Michael Granville. Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. Now I can
Yeah.
figure out, oh, how am I approaching being a coach of my kids? And they're like,
There you
thank you
go.
for, and it was something that I put myself on a limb, and it was great to hear the feedback. There's that feeling of, it's just like, damn, why does it have to be like that way? But hey,
Yeah.
we're all at peace right now,
Yeah.
and it's positive to it. There were some people like, oh, I can't believe how you can talk like that about somebody or your dad. That's your dad, or how can you? I say, I'm just saying facts of
Yeah.
one day that led up to a record and where I
Absolutely.
am now.
Yeah.
That's where I put it. I respect my father. I do everything, but for
Yeah.
that story, I wanted to just give a glimpse of one day, and
Yeah.
then everything else that led on after that, as far as me overcoming, meeting, having experience in track and field at UCLA
Yeah.
that brought me into loving the sport. In high school, I could not tell you another person's name that besides Quincy Watts or certain people
Yeah.
that I've either want to look up to or eventually wanted to beat or something.
Sure. Sure.
But as far as any other race, event, anything, I couldn't tell you about. You know, because part of it too, I would get up there for my race. My dad was a big part of just get in, get out. You know, don't talking too many questions. You know, don't get distracted. So I would.
I never seen you at the snack bar signing programs, interview. Nobody, no microphone in your face. No. Michael, how'd you feel when you're coming off the curb?
Yeah,
I'm like, you know, and like I told you before we started, you know, that was, you know, my understanding far removed, right? But it's like, okay, but yeah,
right. There's so many. I can tell you more stories on the other side of the camera. It's some good stuff, but
gotcha.
But it's like it's looking at it now, it's funny, but it looking into going into the UCLA and the teammates and the understanding of the sport, being a student of the sport and everything around it, I enjoyed it then. I was a team captain. I was, you know, telling jokes, you know, with the team. There was a whole different life of track that had put on into my life, and where I was not the fastest on the team anymore. I was respectable, but you know, but looking back at it, I tell yourself, hey, Michael, don't say it like that. You won 2 NCAA championships. You won the Pac-10 championship, DMR, right? 4x4 in 1999.
There you go.
You know, 3-time All-American, Pac-10 champion in the 400 meters. Who else was Pac-10 champ in the 400 meters? Quincy Watts. You know, so I was like, you know, you're right there in good company. Like, even though it was probably it was 46 something, but hey, you know, it was a W.
Hey man, hey.
But yeah, and so
you had an opportunity, and I'd say even, you know, as you were saying just a moment ago, you got a chance to enjoy your experience at UCLA. And we got a chance from the stands, other coaches, all of us holding watches saying, what's he going to do today? You know, you know, what's he going to do today? Watch your race. What's Obi going to do today? What's Kenny going to do in the hurdles today? You know, all these different names. And as you guys were crossing over at that time,
that's right.
What's Sutan going to do today? What's Justin Fargas going to do? You know, it was just like, okay, you know what I mean? So all those, as we're looking, I mean, nobody knows what's going on in anybody's house. I mean, we're all grown here. This ain't, you know, this ain't this ain't little, you know, and so to see you now growner than grown, you know, got your own family, kids, you know, happy, love you and everything, and you're sitting here looking back and able to talk about your time as a Bruin there at Drake, and now Rayford Drake Stadium. Rayford Johnson Drake Stadium. You know, I just want to congratulate you, man, on your growth into a nice sustained manhood, and you know, and so grateful that you didn't have just that record. Not that would be anything minor. Your life has continued to progress.
And there was a part where I didn't. So after I moved up here, 2003 was when 2001 I moved up to the Bay Area, and I pretty much hung up the spikes for good in 2003. Just some injuries, and it just was. I felt track had brought me up here to start, and instead of just, okay, Michael, do this, hearing from other, this is your projection, I suggest you do this. And I said to myself, not clean slate, but from this point, you make the decision about where your life, what do you like, oh my gosh, I ended up being in stand-up comedy. I had that run going for a while.
Really?
Yeah, massage therapy.
Nice.
I taught art at a little independent school. I found myself working at Starbucks, you know, and eventually I got into personal training and working at a physical therapy center. And from there, it's just like Josh Johnson actually is
Mhm.
Josh Johnson and Mark Guillet. Mark Guillet is the owner of Agile Physical Therapy, which is he's the person that got me my first job
Okay.
in this kind of health field, who
Yes.
was actually my trainer at UCLA as well.
Oh,
So I
wow.
moved up here. Yeah. So
Nice. Nice.
we had a good connection. And then Josh Johnson also too is like Mike, they both was like, once you get some your certification in personal training, I think you'll be good at that. So I
Yeah.
started doing that for personal training, massage therapy, and then that combination of massage therapy, physical therapy, personal training, and comedy, that combination was perfect for what I'm doing in my business. As
Okay.
far as keeping a group entertained,
Yes.
once I was done with comedy, because that's the hardest, and it was the most humbling experience to stand up and tell some jokes, and people look at you like you're reciting poetry, just quiet and just like, like it's just there, it's just like it was humbling, but I did it because I like that feeling of competition, like that getting out
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
so if it filled that. And then once I was done and I was starting to get into boot camps, which I run outdoor fitness still to this day,
Nice.
it was a way of having the education and knowledge of how to progress people's exercises to
Mhm.
modifying it
Mhm.
because of the work I've done with physical therapy and
That's right.
understanding the body with massage therapy because I have to learn every muscle. So I
Yes.
understood with that combination. And then
Yes.
the comedy, it was like I don't play music. A lot of people play music with their fitness classes. I just
Okay.
talk and just say things. And growing
Okay.
up, at UCLA, when you're up there before warming up and stretching, everybody's talking about this person, that person, the shoe
Yeah.
size. Why it's just I wouldn't. You're laughing, real good laughing, mama jokes and stuff. My dad told me don't ever do mama jokes. My first day of practice at UCLA, they were doing mama jokes. I was like, oh no. I backed out. I was like, oh no. And so but I got christened to it and it was great. And so Jim McElroy is the funniest person I knew at the time. Jim McElroy?
I know Jim very well.
Oh,
Hey,
what?
Jim, listen. Jim, okay. You talking about Jim number 85, right?
Yes,
Little
sir.
little skinny Jimmy. Okay. So
Jimmy Mack.
out of Washington High School. Okay. So
Yes.
so Jim, I've known Jim since late 90s, maybe 2000, somewhere in there.
Oh,
Somewhere
okay.
the first time we met, I think he was a trainer at Bally's in Culver City.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was the first time we met, and I said, hey man, I said, you look so familiar. He's like, yeah, my name is Jim. I was like, Jim, what? And he was like, so we started talking, and then, I met, so we met and we hung out and we started talking. And then his sister works with Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And
Oh yeah.
I've been a huddle leader with FCA for many years at Eastside High School, and now also at the college where I'm at Antelope
Awesome
Valley College.
service.
And so I know, and his sister, of course, was the first softball player to get a scholarship from the inner city.
Oh, I
Yeah,
did
yeah,
read that. That's right.
yeah. Oh no, she was a murderer on that stand.
Oh.
Tall, and I mean, like Jim's a smaller guy, right? Jim's sister's like, I think she's a solid 6 foot. And
Oh,
then
wow.
yeah, and then her husband.
She was a pitcher or?
Yeah, she was a pitcher. And then her husband
Oh,
Adam, he played ball at University of Hawaii, and he's a teacher. And yeah,
look
yeah,
at that.
yeah, man, good dude,
What a
man.
small world,
Oh,
man. Look
wait,
at it.
one
Oh,
more, last Jim story. And
oh.
Jim, I want to shout out. You can call me on your 1585.
Yeah. I
Thing,
love that. So
your
I got to get
podcast.
in on that.
But he's coaching at Gardena High School, and when he won the championship, I officiated the game. So
Oh, what?
I was on the field for the game. It was great. So
Isn't that cool? I was so happy to see that too. And that was like pre-pandemic right there. That was a good win for the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
2019 fall, December 2019.
Yeah.
November.
Yeah. I remember seeing it on his stories. I was like, what? He's going all the way. You got a ring and everything.
Yeah. I think they ended up winning. They won a state title, or did they lose?
I want to say they did.
I know they won. I did the city game at El Camino.
Oh.
And then.
Oh, I don't know if they won the state one though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They went up here. I remember that part. Or was it?
I think they
There was
lost.
a lot of fires going on too. I remember the fires was going
Oh
on,
yeah.
and it
Oh
got
wow.
either
Yeah.
postponed, but they end up. I don't think they won, but he did win the CCS or
Yeah.
the CI, whatever the Southern section was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, at the time I was coaching at the high school here, Gun, and it just
Nice.
seemed like every year, right around the championship, it was like it's a fire that just cancels
Yeah.
all kind of like mass and stuff there too. But
Crazy.
going back, yeah, Jim McElroy was a big reason. Whenever I think about funny, I see like he was so smooth with it. And so I end up getting in stand-up comedy, just going, I was like, man, if I can have the power of Jim McElroy with this set, you know. But no, all that stuff just really helped out. And so in 2015, so I've been working with this company that had an outdoor boot camp in 2006. I started working there, you know, stopped doing the stand-up comedy. That's a night life. And
Yeah.
then trying to go into a boot camp life, which starts
Yeah.
at 6 a.m. the first class.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this one paying, so let's do this one, and end up being one of the best career moves of my life. I
Nice.
was able to use my athletic experience
Hmm.
as you know through warm up, sitting down, looking at the professionals do their prep and warm up, and through the education I had, and even learning on the job, you know, and being able to tell you know quick wit and jokes at the same time, really started building a community around my type of fitness, the
Nice.
G
Nice.
fitness,
Yeah.
and it the company I went from part time, and every time they asked, oh, there's another slot open, are you available? Yes. I remember at that time I was like, just be available whenever you're
Yeah.
ready. Just
Yeah.
be ready when you know, so you don't have to get ready. And
That's
you
right.
have this. Next thing I know, I was expecting my wife and I were expecting our first boy in 2007. So
Nice.
you know, things got real. I was like, all right, and I started putting the same effort I did in track into boot camp. I was like, I think this is what it's going to be, and
There you go.
I you know started building the clientele. The bosses and the managers liked what I was doing, and they called me one day and said, you know what, you're going to be our first full-time employee.
Mm.
And so I got benefits. Was able to, I was like, and then bonuses, and like this
Yeah.
is great. Had another baby, you know, baby boy in 2010.
Yeah.
You know, was able to, you know, was feeling, you know, I was providing and going somewhere. And then
Yeah.
2015, it all got pulled under, the rug
Mm.
got pulled under me. I get a call and they say that they're dissolving my program, the boot camp outdoor fitness program, and
Mm.
they were going more into corporate fitness. Like, so the company was started by a lady named Patty Perper from Stanford, and she started this first, coined the term boot camp for outdoors, for
Okay.
regular, you know, Jim and Jane fitness, not,
Yeah.
you know, going to army.
Yeah.
And it was a way to boost people's fitness to maybe try a gym later on, you know,
Okay.
and it turned out to be a really
Wow. Okay.
a good program that people wanted to keep going. And she built it from that to Google, Yahoo, you know, having
Nice.
eventually Facebook. So she
Nice.
sold it off. Bigger companies bought it. And then it's
Gotcha.
like, what is this little outdoor fitness part of it?
Hmm.
Get rid of that because we're
Mm.
going this way.
Gotcha.
And so when they broke the news to me, thank God they gave me 6 weeks notice instead of 2 weeks notice. It's like, we're going to give you 6 weeks to kind of, you know, figure out what you want to do, but just let you know, after that, we're no longer providing benefits.
Gotcha.
If you want to come aboard, you have to do a certain way, pick a facility. And I remember going to work that night, and she blasted the email saying, this is going to be the end of this. So start, you know, finding another way. I'm going to
Hmm.
give you guys time. And I just remember going to that Stanford. This is back when we were at Stanford track, when my shoulders were so rounded forward for the pressure of just trying to figure out
Hmm.
how am I going to do all this? You know, like
Yes.
this was just a cool thing that was
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
And I remember Randy was the first client that came for the 6 p.m. boot camp that night. And he pat me on the shoulder and said, hey, this it's not over. He
Yeah.
says, you think all these years we've been going just because of this company? We've been
No.
coming here because of you.
Exactly.
And because he says, you bring the energy. He says, you don't know when we're going to show up, but
Yeah.
you always show up with the
Yeah.
same energy, with the same
There we
positive
go.
nature, and a smile,
There
to
we
where
go.
it makes us want. So all that, and then from hearing him, and it just was a domino effect
Yeah.
of hearing things like that.
That's
That,
awesome.
you know, giving somebody, when I talk about giving somebody flowers when they're alive, it
That's right.
happened that week.
That's
And
right.
I was just like, what? I mean,
Awesome.
tears left and right.
That's
And then
awesome.
after that, we came into Now you're going to start this business. How are you going to do this? So I was able to network, use all my resources from each person in my class that either was a lawyer, a logo designer, an accountant, somebody that does web pages. So
Yeah,
each one I just picked, and just understanding that they have only so much time to pro bono me something.
that's
And
right.
whenever they say, hey, I got this time to talk, are you here available? Yes, I'm
Yeah,
available.
there you
And
go.
so from that point, I just, started writing stuff down. I got my website, things that, how do you make sure I can accept the money?
Yeah,
And by the time that 6 week rolled around, I was able to start GFit. My LLC started on November 17th, 2015. And by
nice.
December 1st, once my benefits and everything left, I was able to deposit $30,000 into my new bank account from all of the support to start my new
Wow,
business. From when I
wow,
mean the support, it was they all pretty much either paid for a year in advance or half a year
yeah,
in advance for the
nice.
boot camp. And
That's
just to
beautiful.
do that, and I never looked back. It's like, let's
That's
keep going.
awesome. That's
Let's
awesome,
keep this
man.
going.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Congratulations, bro.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I mean, for us to, we've said so many names, Quincy Watts, Otto Bolden, Obi Moore,
Yeah.
Jimmy McElroy, Rayford Johnson.
Yeah.
I want to shout out Jamil Smith because it
Yes.
was his post
Yes.
that
And happy
catapulted,
birthday. He said it was his birthday too on the 31st. So we gotta give him a happy
okay,
birthday.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, and Smitty, I'll be over there to see you and Pops. We gotta come through and hit IHOP or do something,
There
celebrate
we
you
go.
coming into your
Right.
getting out of your 20s or
Yeah, that forever 29.
again, get out of your 20s again. Uh,
Woo.
but yeah, man, just having this opportunity to make your acquaintance, meet you, and get caught up on everything that you're doing, and
Thank you.
again, see your lovely
Yeah.
family. And now that you said, I was looking at the pictures behind you, but now when you said you were
Oh.
teaching art, I'm like, is this all you behind you?
So so this one here is Bammer. Bammer is a Oakland, Sacramento artist, the king
Okay.
and queen. Um, I'm doing something with Shakari right now, Richardson. This is still in the works. You can see that blue hair. So
Oh
most of the
yeah.
stuff is mine. But no, I'm actually collecting other art from
Nice.
amazing artists that
Okay.
around here. Uh, so Victoria, yeah, Victoria, I'll be right there. So
Okay.
so a big part of I've always been in art. I've taught art. I've sold some art, but it's just more of a hustle.
Yeah.
I need an
Yeah.
extra 100 here or this and that.
Gotcha.
1 second.
Come on in, sweets.
Well, she's gonna come in and try to paint on this phone. So I've always been, I love art. I've been in midst with it, but this past year I hooked up with he was my long jump coach at Gunn. He's a educator in art as well at the local
Okay.
colleges, and
Nice.
we both kind of found out our interest in art and school. But then after a lot of the social injustices that happened last year, that well,
Yeah.
actually it's always been had, but that's kind of
Yeah.
brought us all to the table of saying, hey, there needs to be some change. How do I contribute to a protest or a change or to
Yes.
awareness? And Jordan came up with this nonprofit called Illustrative Voices. Illustrative Voices is a way where artists can come together and draw, with the illustration and use their voice to talk about what experiences they've had or about social justice, what they envision, how they want social justice to look like in the future. And what we've had is started off with online virtual exhibitions, which has been great. And from that, I'm the exhibition director. So I
Nice.
curate the rooms, and eventually when we have a real space, a brick and mortar space, then we'll have a connection there. But right now we're still kind of virtual and online.
Sure.
And through that, my love for art and understanding other people's art and to bringing it to my home because of how it makes me feel or the message behind it is something that's this past year. So
Gotcha.
so being an exhibition director, I've been recruiting artists, and in that Amos, what happened was my first show that I curated exhibition, and once you sit down with each person's piece and see the description behind, see what they put through, and by
Yeah.
the 13, 14 piece, I'm just like, lost time, and I was able to really feel each piece, and then the conversations that come around it. I mean, a lot of
Yes,
times we see this art and you see the beautiful colors and hues
yes,
and
yes,
abstract, or maybe it's fine, it looks just like the person, and you just see it for what it is. But each one of these artists, they have a story behind it. Maybe
that's
what
right.
led them to that, and what you see is probably not even what they were drawing, but it's
Mm,
amazing how it talks that way.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm fully in and gratefully in this in immersing myself with art. It's a great way of mental health. It's a great way of my way of talking out loud, of showing my voice
yeah,
about social inequities, social injustices, and
yeah,
what I vision for social injustice, and bringing in community, celebrating our allies, and giving everybody a ton, not just minorities. Hey, let's hear from, people that are probably in more the majority, or whatever
yeah,
different countries. But we want
yeah.
to hear it. We want to bring it, and the best way I feel of doing it is by putting it on drawing it or painting it or
That's fantastic.
poem or a GIF. So I'm open up to different ways of art, and but just to kind of wrap up what I was saying is
Excellent.
just with illustrative voices, I think I've been able to more branch out in accepting other people's art into my home. Because before I was like, oh, I can draw that, I can do
Sure.
this. But now it's just like, no, there's something behind it. There's a whole energy, and just the
Yeah,
connection of meeting these artists and hearing their talk. I'm like, I need to see that for motivation. So Bammer, I have his up for the king when I see the king and queen, and he has amazing art. He does a lot of murals and stuff in Sacramento. So if you're ever
okay,
up there, I'm pretty sure you'll see
okay,
his artwork. And then
okay.
Dita Montana out of Houston. It's is amazing artist. And if you guys are listening to this, just check your local like listings for any artists around. I mean
Cool.
this is the time to really dive into the art game.
Great. That's great. That's great.
Yes,
That's great.
better than
Well,
Bitcoin, I think.
yeah. Hey, man. Hey, a year ago, May 1st, Bitcoin was at 7,800 and it got up to 66,000
Thousand.
a
Yeah.
coin. And I mean, Ethereum was $78 and it's
It's
it's right at
4,000,
4,000 right
3,000.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insane.
It's
So
in It's
it's
something. I'm new to it. I'm new to it. I had to dip
well,
something in just in
the thing
case.
for you, the thing for you in the art community are the
NFTs.
NFTs.
Oh,
And
I've already
so,
started. I got my first NFT out, and as soon as I can figure out how to get this Ethereum on my account, I'm just new to me, so I want to tap in and get
yeah,
Pavement 84's Pavement 84. If you guys um, look up that name on Instagram, he is going to be the next. Like you won't be able to buy his stuff in the next 5 years. So if you can get on, you get some of his Pavement 84 stuff.
okay.
Oh, and so I'm trying to once I figure out how to get his NFT, I'll
Yeah,
share that too. I just have to figure out the wallet and how to purchase it. Right now,
gotcha.
I'm waiting for the email, but
Wow.
that's definitely where I'm getting into the
Okay.
NFTs, doing my own, and then finding a way to I don't know to see what I can do with
That's
it.
it, brother. I hear you, man. I hear you.
Yes,
Well, guys, man, I hope you guys enjoyed,
yes.
this time with our guest here. This is the silver anniversary of Michael Granville's 1996 national record in the NFHS 800. Is that a 18U also record?
Ooh, I think recently there was a brother in England that went 145. One of those. It was
Okay.
somebody in England.
Okay.
You mean for America under
Yeah,
18?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
We'll stay
yeah,
domestic.
yeah, yeah.
We'll say domestic for now.
That's right. Yeah.
Not that international doesn't count, but if you still
Um,
got it here, that's okay.
18. It could be
Might be.
unless somebody got into college under 19.
Yeah,
Not
but we know.
definitely not
Okay,
under 19.
we
Yeah,
know. We know
for
we've got
sure.
the high school record here. High school
I
record
take that.
holder, one forty
Mhm.
six 45.
That's right.
Um, and all you coaches and young runners, if you weren't there to see it that night,
Mhm.
sucks to be you because I was there. And yeah, but anyway, Michael, man, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. It's
Thank you,
great to
Amos. Yes,
thank you
sir.
for welcoming me into your home and all of us. Thank you for sharing this time. and truly special evening with you, and everybody that got their name shouted out tonight.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank all of you guys for making a contribution to each of our lives, directly, indirectly. And we appreciate all of you here on I Represent the 2%. Michael, thank you again, brother. Great to
Thank
meet
you, Amos. I appreciate you all the way. And I hope to keep this conversation going, man. You have a great evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, brother.
All right.